Good day, everyone. Our lesson for today is Question Document Examiner, Chapter 12. So, Question Documents Examination. Documents examination embraces every aspect of determining the genuineness or provenance of documents of interest to an inquiry, which may be relevant in actual or anticipating litigations. Moreover, many prosecutors, lawyers, and investigators do not fully appreciate the potential of this forensic discipline in assisting them to bring cases to successful results and perhaps timely conclusions. Therefore, when selecting question document examiner, it is important to take consideration regarding training, education, and qualifications. Ang ibig sabihin lamang nito, ang pagsusuri ng dokumento or document examination ay isa sa pinakamainam na solusyon kung ang kaso ay nakapokus lamang sa dokumento. Kaso nga lang sa ngayon, di naman gaano napapahalagahan ang sangay ng kalaman na to kahit na malaki ang may tutulong nito pagdating sa mga usaping kaso. So, who is the document examiner? Question document examiner, also often referred to as forensic document examiner, is a forensic scientist who is responsible for using a number of scientific processes and methods for examining documents whether written, typed, or printed, or related to a crime scene investigation. The forensic documents examiner is a skilled forensic scientist with a demonstrated expertise in applied question documents examination. He or she is a writing expert as well as expert in areas of documents examination, including machine printing processes, obliterated, indented, and erased entries. Ang ibig sabihin naman nito, ang question document examiner na kilala rin bilang forensic document examiner ay ang namamahala sa pagsusuri ng mga dokumentong written, typed, or printed. Ang forensic documents examiner rin ay isang espesyalista sa iba pang mga aspeto ng pagsusuri ng dokumento tulad ng mga machine printing processes, obliterated entries at marami pang iba. Question document examiner may perform the following. Examine documents for signs that have been forged or altered. Compare signatures in handwriting through handwriting analysis to determine the authorship of question documents. Examine typed question documents and link them to a specific machine or computer. Decipher contents of question documents that have been partially destroyed or altered. Compare fractured or make cut edge. Base sa nabanggit, ang gawain ng isang document examiner ay nakafocus sa mga pineke, binago o sinirang perma. Kasabay na dito ang mga dokumentong personal man o hindi, at ang gawain nila ay magkumpara at mag-eksamina. Qualities of question document examiner. In forensic specialties such as question document examination, where formal degree programs are not readily available, forensic laboratories find it most desirable to seek trainees with a degree in physical science. While not a prerequisite, a degree of this type is more appropriate to the instrumental and technical systems of measurements, analysis, and evaluations which are all employed in the examination of question document evidence. Forensic question document examiner must acquire the skills, competency, and experience through on-the-job apprentice training in known experts in the trade, and who are often can be found in forensic laboratories. Most forensic laboratories require that the new question document examiner candidates possess a baccalaureate degrees and forensic science as a basic requirements. In addition, the new forensic question documents examiner is typically required to attend question document seminar and training programs such as those offered by international agencies like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, ABFQDE, and Asian Association of QDE. Ang ibig sabihin lamang nito, bago ka maging document examiner ay dapat dumaan ka muna sa on-the-job or apprentice training. Kasama na din dito ang question document seminars and trainings na madalas offered lang ng FBI, ABFQDE at QDE. Dapat din at least physical science or forensic science degree holder ka. Selection of question document examiner. How does one select a qualified expert? There is no simple answer. It is suggested that the inquiry encompasses the examiner's educational background, and its relevance to the field. The examiner's formal discipline training, experience level, and professional affiliations, previous court appearance, and record of correct opinions. Kagaya nga ng nabanggit kanina, kailangan muna dumaan sa mga trainings and seminars bago ka maging qualified at dapat may experience na din sa trabaho like court appearance. Moralities of Question Document Examiner. The moral qualities of Question Document Examiner are as follows. 1. He or she must be free of prejudice. 2. He or she must devote himself or herself to the Question Document Examiner profession by maintaining a high personality and integrity and by increasing his or her proficiency through studies and researches. 3. He or she must always conduct an examination on a professional and ethical manner. 4. He or she must not let his or her personal feeling, sympathies, and prejudice influence the result of the examination. 5. He or she must always remember that he or she is an impartial seeker of truth. 6. He or she must be a good character. And 7. He or she must be decently dressed. The list is very self-explanatory naman, di ba? Traits of Question Documents Examiner. The traits of the Forensic Question Documents Examiner are as follows. 1. He or she must recognize his or her capabilities and limitation in forensic science instrumentation. 2. He or she must have a complete knowledge of modern forensic equipment. 3. And he or she must be proficient in the conduct of question document examinations, analysis of characteristics, comparison of characteristics, and evaluation of characteristics, and verification of characteristics or ECEV. Assertions of Question Documents Examiner. The final part that Forensic Question Documents Examiner plays in the forensic drama is the testifying in the court on the findings of his or her examinations. His or her testimony is usually the reason why the examination were undertaken in the first place. Ideally, prior to court testimony, the question documents examiner, who now takes the role of expert witness, must have a conference with the lawyer to establish the best line of questioning which will communicate the examiner's opinion with the most clarity and impact. Many forensic question documents examiners chose to provide the lawyer with a pre-planned list of qualifications. These previously constructed qualifying questions may be waived, and it is not meant to take the place at a pre-trial conference, but may become a necessity because of time constraints that may obviate the possibility. In this occasion, the defense lawyer should be admonished that deviation from the prescribed questions may result in answers that are quite different that he or she expects to hear. The pre-trial conference is the ideal forum for speculation regarding cross-examination questions. Normally, the lawyer conducting the cross-examination attempts to limit the witness to a simple yes or no answer. The expert witness giving testimony need not be limited to these constrictions. A redirect examination should be designed to clarify any cross-examination questions that require lengthier explanation. Demeanor of Question Documents Examiner. A court chart created by the Forensic Question Documents Examiner is normally used to display similarities between question writings and standard writings. It can easily, of course, display difference if the examiner's opinion is of dissociation. The court chart should be simple and easily viewed while maintaining enough information to illustrate the Question Documents Examiner opinion. A highly congested chart is to be avoided. It may not be in the best interest to produce graphic display of opinions that are cautious its probability. It is the cross-examiner's obligation to create a doubt in the minds of the court about opinions reached by the expert witness. A court chart, properly demonstrated, will subtly shift the examinations from the question documents examiner to each member of the viewing audience. The court becomes the examiner and may even be found doing its own comparisons. Once the court is convinced by the demonstrations, effective cross-examination must necessarily attempt to attack the display rather than the forensic question document examiner. The question document examiner is always well advised to remind all in the courtroom that the demonstration chart is only illustrations and was not used for the examination itself. While most court display are usually very presentable and visually attractive, today's computer scanner and printer technology can produce what is arguably the best demonstration materials. The entire court chart can be produced by scan image of the evidence. Ethics of Question Documents Examiner. The Question Documents Examiner is expected at all times to be staunch non-advocate. This may be more difficult than it seems. He or she is after all performing his or her work within judicial system that is dependent upon advocacy. His or her examination must never be biased because he or she is working for a prosecution-oriented forensic laboratory or because he or she is being paid by a substantial fee by the lawyer or investigator. This is not to say that the question document examiner should not be advocate of his or her opinions, but the opinions once formed should not be taken beyond the scope of limitations. In a simple explanation, ang document examiner ay dapat palaging neutral or walang kinakampihan sa anumang alintuntunin ng usaping kaso. Dapat palaging non-bias or maging professional lang dapat sa trabaho. The question document examiner is an advocate in neither side of the dispute. His or her ethical alliance is to the evidence rather than either side. He or she must subscribe to a code of ethics which prohibits improperly supporting the desired outcomes of any party, including the party who hired him or her as question documents examiner. He or she must conduct full, fair, and unbiased examination through analysis, comparison, evaluation, and verification, capable of leading to an independent, impartial, and objective opinions and conclusions. Kagaya nga ng nabanggit kanina, ang document examiner ay dapat di bias or dapat professional lang sa trabaho. Walang kinakampihan bukod sa judicial system. Finally, his or her opinions once formed should not be taken for granted beyond the space of its limitations. However, in making such opinions, the question documents examiner, especially if he or she is from the police or law enforcement forensic laboratories, was abide with the provision of RA number 6713 entitled Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees vis-a-vis with respective police or law enforcement agencies, professional conduct and ethical standards, and the adopted forensic laboratories protocols and manual operations. Mas mainam o masasabi na professional ang isang examiner kung ang kanilang desisyon ay nakabase sa Republic Act 6713 o mas kilala bilang Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Status of Question Document Examiner. The term status of certification or certified when found in advertisements and resume of question document examiner should be viewed cautiously, as many of owners of automobiles in need of repair have found using a certified mechanic is anything but a guarantee of competence. Lawyers have discovered with surprise that their certified expert who was carefully chosen is being opposed by another certified expert, often certified by the same association that is local or international. As of this writing, only the American Board of Forensic Document Examiner or ABFDE and American Society of Crime Laboratory Directors or ASCLD offer certifications which are either directly related to the question document examiner or to the forensic laboratory. Moreover, the ABFDE and ASCLD serves to certify the police and law enforcement forensic laboratories that contain many forensic science disciplines, including question document examination facilities and personnel. Kagaya din ng nabanggit sa qualities of question document examiner, ang isang examiner ay kailangan dumaan muna sa trainings and seminars bago maging ganap or licensed examiner. Para makamit yun, kailangan muna nila pumasok or mag-apply sa ABFDE or ASCLD na nag-offer ng certification as certified examiner. Duties of question documents examiner. The question document examiner analyzes and evaluates all the elements of the question documents and make an idea on what he or she can present in the court. If he or she is called to testify, he or she should not be confused with handwritings analyst or graphologists who try to explain people's characters by handwritings. The question document examiner usually defines the authenticity of statutory documents, including contract, wills, and deeds. He or she may also examine written medical charts to confirm the interest and so on and so forth. Sa pinakasimpleng explanasyon, ang gawain ng document examiner ay ang magkumpara at mag-eksamina ng mga dokumento na magagamit sa korte kung kinakailangan. Sila rin ang tinatawag kung usaping titulo o mga perma ang isyu ng isang kaso. Question Documents Examiner versus Graphologist. Question Document Examiner. The Question Document Examiner can look at the evidence and provide the client with a wide range of professional feedback. He or she performs handwriting comparisons, documents verification, and signature authentication by using known and reliable techniques to prove and disprove originality. Additionally, the question documents examiner can determine the approximate age of documents and reveal whether or not alterations have been made to documents and even decipher documents that have been damaged or charred. So, ang document examiner ay mas malawak ang sakop kaysa sa graphologist. Ang trabaho kasi ng document examiner ay nakafocus talaga sa handwriting comparison, document verification at signature authentication. Sa madaling sabi, kaya din nilang malaman ang edad ng papeles at kung sinira o binago ba ito. At kaya din nilang mag-extract ng information kahit nasira o sunog ng isang dokumento. Graphologist. By definition, graphologist is not qualified to provide this service. Rather, the field of graphology that is sometimes called graphoanalysis relies exclusively on the using handwritings to attempt to interpret the personality and character of a person. They cannot authenticate documents or offer any advice on the originality of documents that will be sustained in the court of law. In fact, there have been some legal cases in which the service of a graphologists have been disallowed. Kumpara sa document examiner, ang graphologist ay mas kaunti or nakafocus lang talaga sa sulat kamay ng isang tao. Fields of question document examiners. Question documents examinations. Examinations conducted are multi-phased and cover many areas including signatures, evidence of alterations, and dented processes, impressions, paper, printing documents. Most examinations are made by comparing question documents to known standards for authentication. Original documents are prepared for the examiner to assess as much information as possible. Perform documents evidence. There are different types of evidence examined by the question documents examiner, including contracts, loans, banking documents, will, deeds, checks, and many others. It is important for a question documents examiner to excel in analyzing all forms of documentary evidence to better serve the victim or client that employs his or her service. Handwritten evidence. Question document examiner analyze question evidence. Signatures are the most common form of evidence that needs to be analyzed. Specifically, the court usually question authorship and authenticity of a signature or written letters. Other handwritten evidence include wills, contracts, and deeds. They also compare question handwriting to the alleged suspect. Type evidence. A question documents examiner may also assist in question documents that were produced using a typewriter. A question document examiner may be able to identify which model of the typewriter was used to create the documents in question. Some typewriters develop a unique set of characteristics that help him or her identify which typewriter produced the typewritten texts. Perform documents analysis. Question and known documents received at the forensic laboratory are given a designation, numbered, and labeled before any analysis begins. Once the initial analysis has been performed, the examiner will perform a more thorough review using equipment such as slide lighting, transmitted light, and magnification to prepare for a more detailed analysis. Detecting forged signature. Examining a suspect's signatures on documents is a frequent request received by a question documents examiner. Deciding if the signature is genuine or not requires careful examinations of several facets of the signatures, including line quality, speed, letter formations, height relationships, and size. Signatures cases commonly appears in the authentication of bills, deeds, contracts, checks, etc. Perform handwriting analysis. Handwriting analysis is conducted to determine whether the questioned handwritings or signatures were preferred by the known writers. The analysis of the handwriting is conducted to determine if the handwritings are original or a copy. Do the handwritings demonstrate characteristics of natural signatures, that is tampered start, ending strokes, speed, and fluidity? Check the authenticity of documents. Conducting a comparison with handwritings of a security documents are best compared to irrelevant, contemporaneous, and comparable documents. Known standards should be verified before using them in comparative examinations. The question document examiner performing comparison against identified documents must rely on the samples of known specimens. Other aspects analyzed. Not only does the question document examiner analyze handwriting, but he or she also performs non-destructive testing on ink samples to determine if the same or different inks were used to prepare documents. For example, an examiner may try to see if there were certain words added or changed in document after it were written. Views on question document examiner. In trial of civil or criminal case, the question often asked, is the question document examiner belong to the known field of scientific study of profession? It is more often than not asked to the expert witness. Therefore, the question document examiner serving as expert witness must provide a valid answer to this question to be asked by the court to sustain the credibility of his or her testimony. He or she has to establish answer to this question from the perspective of legal opinions and practicality. Finally, the quantitative measurements can be used to obtain a statistical analysis of question documents. That's all. Thank you.